Hello there, it's me Sari here again, and today I'm here with a lot of specially folded cards. It's been 5 years since I've posted that long video of different kinds of card folds, and I thought that it was time to actually do a recap or actually show you some new ways of folding cards. I won't be showing you or telling you how I made these. I'm just going to show you all the different ways that I have folded cards through the years. This is something that I have made. I mean, this is a sort of a frame on top of a card, but I have put an easel on in the back so I can actually have it standing like this. I just wanted to showcase this to you because it's a really nice way of actually making paper come to life, and in this case I have used the faux metal technique to make it look a little bit more shabby and, no, perhaps not shabby, but rough and tough even, perhaps. And let's see, here is something that I made years and years ago, and you see that the glue from the 3D foam pads, I mean, they're actually releasing. This one was supposed to say Billie Idol, and it's a girl, of course she's a Billie girl, and the song, or the title here, refers to his song, Billy Idol's song Sweet 16. And what I have done is that I have made a sort of a booklet and put into this, and Billy Idol released his song in 1986, and what I have done is that I've actually written the song or the lyrics there, put it there. So in this case you can actually make a really nice small mini album, or perhaps a card with lots of information, perhaps a wedding invitation with the direction routes and everything. I just thought that it was a really fun idea for a card. So Sweet 16 Billy Idol there. Here is something that I mean, when I started off making cards and everything, I wanted to go there with those sort of pop-up cards. And I was really in a Halloween craze then. I mean, I was about to turn 40, and that was some 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago. So you can see that I have kept or held on to these cards because I do like the way that how my mind goes and how it starts, and it's nice to go back to see. I mean, here is where I started with embossing folders and everything, and then I have developed and learned new things. And in this case I didn't even use any stamps. I just used stickers or something that I printed out by the computer and my printer from the internet. So I mean, there's lots of things you can do. Here I have used some stamps, and also this stamp here, this bouquet is for you. I did have a set of 4 Halloween themed stamps that I could use. And you know, this is a trial and error thing mostly, but I do like pop-up cards, and in this case I just made it really simple, making a couple of slits there and folded them outwards, and made sure that everything will be tucked nicely in when it's closed, and then they will all be visible. Even though they are going in 2 different directions, I'm still able to see them and they're not clashing with each other. And let's see, here is an easel card that I have made, and I have shown you this one in a video before. I'm sure many of these cards have been shown before, and to some of these cards there are even some tutorials. You just have to look for them, go to my channel and look for them. And this is a round easel card with a sort of a scalloped edge, and I did do a little bit of decorating more than I used to do before. And here is the cutest little bear. I believe this one comes from Crafter's Companion. It's a set of stamps from them since quite a few years back, I must say. And talking about pop-up cards, I also like to buy dies that actually make those pop-up things look nice. So in this case there is some kind of a label, a round label thing going on there. And I also did die cut that top shape with an on the edge die from Tim Holtz. Here I have done some dry embossing just to get that texture going, and I have used lots of die cuts and made a swirly flower there, and Christmas trees and everything. And I used some plastic just to make things pop, even though you're not seeing how they can pop. And I wanted to keep it all white except for that black ink, because I just wanted to go there with something completely white. And this is quite a heavy card and quite bulky, so perhaps you shouldn't put as many things as I have put here. I mean, it's the flower here that actually gives me the hard time now, isn't it? But since I'm mostly making these cards for prototypes, I just want to go there once in a blue moon. Here is something that I also made in the early days of my Halloween theme. I wanted to make a, you know, I'm not thinking, I ought to know, it's not an overall, and it's not a body. I mean, in Swedish we call this a body, I think. But it's the shape of, I mean, I started off with a rectangular piece there. And I got in where I wanted the sleeves to go. And I just made it go to the outer part. And then I used a circle punch just to punch those out. But since there are 2 layers of paper, I actually had to cut them twice. Because otherwise the punch will go mad. It will break for you, I'm sure. Or you could use perhaps just a pair of scissors, which I seem to have used here. Just use something round to make a shape there, and there you go. And let's see, here is something that I haven't learned the name for yet. It's a sort of fun looking card. It's a diagonal card, and you have to do a little bit of scoring and thinking about where you want to put your pattern pieces of paper, because I mean, you could keep it like this and you could put something in here, perhaps. I mean, not as big as this, of course, but you could actually have a bit of gift card, perhaps. And then when they open it up, there could be something else here. And if they are still going to open it up, well, you can't really do that much more than perhaps do a bit of writing. And if you'd want to do some writing, well, you could have some hidden journaling down here, perhaps. Because if you're going to put it there, it's going to turn upside down. So you really have to think about what you do and where you do it. But I just wanted to go there, and this is my prototype for that special card. I'm not sure what the name for that one is. I'm sorry about that. Here's another one, which is called sort of a spring card theme for it, but I have glued it down so it doesn't spring on me anymore. I wanted to keep it in control, and this one is a bit tricky to fold, but I do like the way it looks, and I'm seeing myself using these perhaps for placement cards when you're having guests for dinner or something. And I kept it all white because I was in a mood where I wanted to keep everything white, and I have die cut. There's a statement here, God Jul, which means Merry Christmas in Swedish. I die cut that out of funky foam, and I do like these funky foam letters quite a lot. But this is a nice way to do things. It's small and it's compact, and if you don't put any bulky things there, you could actually send it in an envelope to somebody. Here is something that I made. It's a star fold card, and what I have done with this one, instead of putting, and if you're not putting this center bit here with that circle, you can actually tuck these bits and pieces under each other, and that will keep it closed. But since I wanted to have a circle here, and I wanted to have quite an easy access to open it, I did put a magnet here and there, and in this case it's easy for me to just open and close this and put a statement or a greeting in there. And that stamp comes from Vilda stamps. That one says something about when you have been in a hurry, you really do need to stop and wait for your soul. It's not good to hurry along all the time. Here is not a card perhaps, but this is something that people tend to fancy making. It's a complete 12 by 12 piece of paper that I have folded into a sort of semi or half looking envelope with a lot of decorations. You could use lots of lace and trimmings here if you wanted to. You could also put a little piece of paper in here that you can tuck out, even perhaps money or a gift card or something. Even here you could put something if you wanted to. And I do like the way it looks. It's a nice and elegant envelope. Perhaps you could give it to somebody when you're going to a wedding or something. Here is something that I have showed you before. It's what I call a tea candle card. But since this is rather bulky, I don't really call these cards anymore. I mean, this is something that has to do with, well, it's a gift box or something. And I mean, there are lots of tutorials how to make this. Just look for tea candle card or holder or something. And let's see, and I have put in a tag, and this was in a, when I made this I was in a sort of grungy mood. I have used distress embossing powders here. I've done some die cutting out of snowflakes, made them look like a flower or something. And I have also used some scented tea light candles. And let's see, I've got another tea light candle. I think this is definitely not a card since it is a box, but I just wanted to show you this in the same thing here. I have made this box from the get-go, and I have done it like a booklet, and I have also put a lid on top. And in order to make this paper go as long, I have actually put two pieces together, scored them, and measured the height and the width of those tea light candles. I did actually struggle with this one. This one takes a couple of hours to figure out. You need to pay attention to where you put your die cut circles and everything, so they will end up and fit everywhere. But do give yourself the time to do this, because it's a really nice thing to give away. I mean, you could put something else here, a box of chocolates perhaps, instead of tea light candles. And of course you could do something on the back side, because in this case, since this paper is rather a tough paper and sometimes the glue doesn't really stay in its place, I tend to go for the tiny attacher thingies, and I want to cover this one up, but I haven't really come that far, it seems like. And here is something that is called a side, it's not longer a side step card, it's a step card, or perhaps a double step card. I mean, there could be lots of names for this. And I have made this with a Christmas theme, and the one drawback of these step cards is that since you're making lots of valley and mountain folds, the card itself tends to go flat. So in just finding a way to prevent that, I have actually put a piece of ribbon here and still made it sort of look nice when it's standing on its own, but without it collapsing on me. And well, I kept it really clean and simple with a lots of striped and dotted papers and some corrugated cardboard there. So double step card, I think that one's called. Here is another version of an easel card. I have shown you a couple of easel cards before, but this is something that I have made with stamps. I mean, these are called Daisy and Dandelion, I believe. These stamps you can't find anymore, I'm sorry to say that, but this is a really cute fella, I must say. And this is also a card where I started experimenting more with some more decorations, pom-pom bands, die-cut pieces, flowers and everything. And this is a nice reminder for me. Let's see. I'm going to take you back to this card. I mean, you have seen this before in another video. And this is from the same series, I believe, the Daisy and Dandelion series. It's an British company. It could be Crafters Companion, I'm not sure. Or it could be Paper Mania or something, Do Crafts. And this card is a sort of a double slider card. And I have had quite a few requests on how to make this. And I have made a couple of tutorials on that, so just be on the lookout for that. I'm not doing the same card, but there are different stamps, but you do get the idea of how to do this. And instead of having this one just completely single, and I have actually made it into a card, so I have placed it on a card base so it can stand on its own, and you can actually have some more room for journaling or do your greetings. So a double slider card. These are really nice to make, and you can, I mean, if you just let your imagination run free, you could really make some beautiful things with these. And just making this something like this for somebody turning 60 or 70 or something, I mean, it could be really nice, couldn't it? Something of a surprise. And talking about cards that you pull and twist, here is something that I have made. I mean, I have made this card a couple of times, and I do like to come back to this. This one is called a surprise pop-up tag card, because there's a tag here, and you just, surprisingly enough, you can pull it up, and you can actually have some room here for a statement, even here that is hidden, and of course you can have something in the front. And this card says, "To the foxiest cougar in town, I hope you have a splendid birthday," something like that. And I chose a beautiful stamp there from Whimsy Stamps. No, Kenny K. I think Whimsy Stamps do sell this one, but it's Kenny K that has drawn this. And here's another one, exactly the same measurements, I'm sure. And I have made this one with a steampunk theme instead, but I have used finished stamps that I have designed for Vilda Stamps. And this one says something about to live to the fullest every second. And now it's time to enjoy life. and this is your day. So here we are with those, and this is something that I might have shown you before, but this is a prototype, mind you. This isn't ready because the girl is poking out there, essentially. So this is one thing you should pay attention to when you are making pop-up cards like this. If you're making cards with lots of steps and everything, you need to think about that the further out the steps come, the further out the figures are going to come as well. And I did have the girl, I believe, down here before. It could have been, so she was poking out even more before. So you need to think about making this outer bit of a card really long then, if you want to succeed with this one. But in this case, I just wanted to make a sort of a homely feel to things with that wallpaper paper from, could it be My Mind's Eye? And I have stamped here a painting with an Eiffel Tower. And I have used a cat from Vilda stamps. I have used some butterfly stamps. And I have put them there, and I've sort of tried to keep the texture to them. Of course, when you're folding the card together, everything goes wonky. And now, after a couple of years, I actually did have to reset or change the double-sided foam tape because it's getting loose. Things are falling off. So that's something you need to pay attention to. And if you want to be able to close the card, you can't have these things poking out, and you need to keep everything flat. But that's something I wanted to just show you. And this is something as well that I can't call a card anymore since it is rather thick, and when you open it up it's folding all out into sort of a mini album. And I've also put something here. And I did some figuring out, measuring and everything. This took me quite a few hours as well just to come up with the ideas and everything. But it's fun to have it. And it's a prototype, and you can get the idea. I mean, you could just put in whatever you want to, just go there with that mini album look. Here is something, well, perhaps you could call it a card, but I'm calling it an envelope, a wallet. I'm sorry, I should say a wallet, a pirate wallet. And I just made these cards as examples for credit cards or whatever. And this is this is a rather fun thing to make. This is something I made quite a few years ago, and I use that troublemaker paper. I'm not sure what the brand is. It was a pirate theme. I mean, there was a couple of years ago. Everything should be something with skulls and pirates and dots and everything. So I went there as well and made this wallet. Here is something that is called a swing card. I mean, there are dies nowadays that actually make this faux, so you don't have to do the cutting or the folding yourself. But it's a fun card because you sort of are bewildered at what's happening here, and it's a rather easy card to make, but still you have to do a bit of struggling when you're doing your measuring. Believe me, I have done that. I mean, I almost pulled my hair off. Well, you have seen me show you this one in that video of lots of cards folds, and this is an easel card, but I developed that further and I wanted to make it go a little bit further, so I made it into a doubled tri-shutter card, but in this case it's sort of a mini album, and I used photos and some really clean and simple papers. Really, I believe these could it be Graphic 45 or something. And I was in a mood when I wanted to use lots of butterflies and everything. So this is a nice mini album thing. You could also make out of something, some kind of a theme. I mean, let's see, let's continue. We're sort of running out of cards soon enough. Here is something I just wanted to give you a heads up on. This is something that I wanted to put this one in sort of an album or something, but I'm sure this one could be used as a card thing as well. You could have something in the front, you could flip it over. There's a magnet here keeping that one together. And you could have some journaling or perhaps photos in there. And that one is glued to that one. So you can still see all of these beautiful decorations, you see. And everything is hidden below. We can't really see what's happening underneath there. And then you can pull this one, and there's room for photos or something, and there's here, and there's also a pocket. So, I mean, this is a really nice way to extend the possibilities of making pockets. And when it comes to making waterfall cards, I mean, I haven't been pleased with the examples I have made. there is something that I just can't get I just can't make it work somehow, because I think that the panels are too small for my cup of tea. So I struggle and I struggle, and I wanted to make something that I could showcase and be proud of. So I wanted to go with a little bit of steampunk theme. Live the life you've imagined. And I have colored these papers in and stamped and everything. So when I do the sliding bit here, live in the moment, yada yada yada, it's not who you are, yada yada yada. Life is a... So it's a nice technique. I mean, you have lots of space. I mean, imagine having photos here perhaps. You could also have a bit of journaling down here if you wanted to. Just pay attention to the bit that you're gluing down so you don't glue the journaling underneath, because then nobody's going to see it now, is it? Is that one. So this is a nice looking card like this, and I have put it on a piece of card so it can actually stand on its own if you would like to. Most people actually put this one like that, but then you can't place it standing now, can it? Then you have to have it lying down, and I think that is why I tend to put that on the other, in the other direction. Here is another version that I saw, and I fell in love with this method actually. Here, this is also a waterfall card. You can see that from this bit. And this isn't ready, this is just a prototype, mind you. But what I did was, I copied this idea from somewhere. Of course, I copy everything really. But just have the a big picture in the front, go smaller and smaller, and then you can have the same kind of a mechanism and everything. But I do like that one better, I must say. Then I'm going to show you a couple of open frame cards, and where I have used double-sided pattern paper just to make something happen when you are opening up that card. I mean, this is what it looks like. These are really fun to make, I must say. And this is something that I made with a sort of pop-up card that has lots of intricacy. And this mechanism here, you see there's something poking out there. It's twisting and turning. So this is something that I learned from the girl that has made lots of dies for sizzix, burniston. And she has her videos out there somewhere showcasing this, and I had to struggle with this one quite a lot, I must say. I struggled and I struggled. But here it is, and it's a reminder of, for me, just to letting me know that I can actually make it work even though it is rather difficult. So pop-up cards are really fun to make. This is how it looks when it's closing. Here's another one with that same kind of a frame, and in this case I didn't have this paper didn't have a backside to it, so I actually put on another piece of paper, and it has gotten loose here from after a couple of years of working, and I have glued them down, and I put some flowers on there, and I made it into a card. There is also a pop-up function. This is a die that I have used, and I do fancy this die quite a lot because it enables me to make this one into a pop-up card easily. Here is something else, but I have made a sort of double frame to it, and I have folded them in different directions, and well, I've just torn the pieces of paper here. I have been really rough, not paying attention to, not that much perhaps. And here's another one. This one is one of my favorites because I do like the jazz age theme, and I do like her. It's Friday from the Greeting Farm, the Creepy Crew. So now we are coming to the final card, which I have two examples of, and this one is an exploding card. I believe it's an exploding card of some sort. And if you turn it like this, it can actually stand on its own. And I have used lots of stamps from Vilda stamps. So if you're folding it together, you can actually send it to somebody. But the fun thing about this is that you can actually manipulate it enough to make it stand and make a headpiece or something somewhere. So I have used lots of stamps on Vilda stamps, I'm telling you. Lots and lots of stamps. So it was quite fun, I must say. And here is something else with a Halloween theme where I have used lots of die cuts instead. And I have gone wild with some cogwheels and clock. And this is a pocket watch from Tim Holtz. This is a die that I have used from Quick Cuts. This is stamp from Vilda. Halloween stamps from Vilda, actually. It's a pocket watch winder, and there is something, I'm not sure what this is called now, I can't remember. Cogwheels, rope, and some beautiful Halloween themed papers. Apothecary is the series from Tim Holtz with the black and white, and I so do like black and white papers. Well, you know, I'm going to tease you a little bit more. here is something. I did started, this also up a couple of years ago, could it be 2010 or something, where I wanted to make handbag cards. And I just thought they were fun, and as long as I can fold it together, I can stretch myself to call this a handbag card, because I do like the idea of being able to fold a card together. Here I should have had I mean there's a magnet there, but it seems like it has fallen off there. But if it would have been there, I would have been able to actually close the handbag. So that's something to think about. I mean, it's really nice to actually have magnets. And if you are lucky enough with the bag staying in place, well, you can make the bag, you can have it standing on its own. What I have done with this one, apart from something else, is I have made a couple of mountain and valley folds there, so I can flatten it out like that. And here is something else that I have made. This is something made out of just one piece of paper, and the flap here is made of something else. And this is just a base for an exploding box or something. Lots of scoring and folding and tucking in. Well, it's a nice thing, but this is just a handbag thingy, or handbag purse or bag. It's not a card anymore, in my book anyway. So there was quite a few card folding techniques there. I hope you are inspired. I will be putting down the names for these cards if I know them, and I will be putting them down in that order that they have spoken about them. And hopefully you can find some tutorials out there, and if you want me to make a tutorial for some of these, please let me know. I'll do my best to make it happen. Well, you see, I do have a surprise. Let's see, there was something that I didn't show you because I couldn't find that card. There is something else. This one is called a telescoping card. 3 circles and a couple of screws or screw brads, and then you're ready to go. It's a nice thing, and you see, I always want to go back to the cogwheels. And here is another example of that pop-up card, and you can see cogwheels there as well. And I'm not sure if there was anything as well. I believe I have shown you this, but perhaps I haven't. This is a spinner wheel card. This is something that actually made one of the first cards that I made. And the final that I have here today, I haven't actually, since I have something in the center, it's a little bit more difficult to put it underneath. So in this case, it could be nice to have a magnet here as well, just to keep it closed. So that's it. Quite a few cards, I must say. I'm wishing you a happy Sunday, and whatever days you're looking at this videos of at. Bye bye.